guys, welcome back to another video. This time I'm going to be talking about my 5 top primary weapons for endgame. There's a lot of weapons to choose from, but these are my 5 based on how I play, my type of style, how I like to run things, and so on. So let's get right to it. First up, out of the 5 is the Rakta Cernos. Now with the Rakta Cernos, how I build for it is I got the argon scope in there, since I like to go in for their heads to trigger this, because on headshot 135% crit chance while aiming for 9 seconds, so that's really good. And on top of that, I got a riven mod for it too, so again, that crit damage to go along with the heat. Point strike vital sense, essential for crit chance and crit multiplier. Split chamber serration for the base. Malignant force high voltage for that corrosive. Alright. Now, as far as with dealing with one enemy, the Rakta Cernos is good. But if there's like a huge mass of enemies, and since it has the red veil sigil on it, when it goes off, it will proc, dealing a whole bunch of damage around the area in the midst of viral proc. It will proc off the viral, and on top of that, you get some energy back to you. So that's really good. So let me whip out this bastard right here. There goes that corrupted bombard. Now since I have argon scope on, it's really good, because when you go for the head, like I mentioned before, it will just start to trigger right there. And as you can see, the red crits are going off right there. Normally if I take off argon scope, it will take me a little bit longer to kill this dude, but since I'm aiming for his head so much, it's gonna keep proccing. The crit chance will keep staying solid, and then sooner or later he just gonna drop. So that's why I use the Rakta Cernos, keep aiming for the head, and everybody else that be coming along by me, I could aim for their legs, arms, and shoulders. It doesn't really matter, the crit chance will stay there as long as I'm aiming for 9 seconds. So that is also really good. The second weapon on my list, a lot of people use it, but they're afraid of it because they could actually down themselves, kill themselves, is the Tsar. The Tsar is one hell of a weapon. Talking about cannon mode, and on top of that, it has the barrage mode. The barrage mode is for close quarters. Cannon mode is for long range. You want to keep your distance with this weapon, because if you are within any close vicinity of it, you will go down from it, because it's that strong. Because based on your build, however you decide to build for it, it's that strong. So now what I like to do is keep my distance, fire my weapon on them like so. But as you can see, against this corrupted bombard, is already to take off its armor and so on and so forth. Keep aiming, keep firing at his ass. Now if I want to go close quarters with this dude, as you can see, use it in combination. The cannon mode is usually for a group of enemies. Barrage, as you saw me just switch into, it has a nice spread, but if you do it up close to an enemy, as you saw, his health was just getting pretty much destroyed on contact. Because as you could look in the description right here, if you look at it, in its barrage mode, and on top of that I built it for crit anyway. As you see, 79.6% status, and as you can see, corrosive, cold slash, proc, and impact, all of them have at least 1,000 damage split between it, at least 1,000. Corrosive is 6,849.4, cold is 4,000 and change, so you could just round that off saying 10,000 right there. And then you could put on top of that with the puncture, that's 2,000 right there, so you talk about 12,000 to add an extra 1,000 between the slash and the impact, so you talk about 14,000 worth of damage right there, just going off of the barrage. That's all I'm pretty much calculating right there off of the top of my head. Alright, so that's the Tsar. Now for another bow action right here, which is the Dread. Now the Dread, I had a riven for it, but I sold it off. You can still make up for it by using the argon scope with it, like I said. And what's really nice about the dread too is that since it has high slash, you could take advantage of it by using Argon Scope, and when it procs, or pretty much when it crits, if you get a slash inlet, start draining that health. And you already know what that means. Slash bypasses shield, armor, all that stuff. So they can have so much armor, it really doesn't matter. The bottom line is that when the slash proc hits them, their health start draining hella quick. As you'll see, it's gonna take a while for the slash to hit. See how I just hit him right there, and boom, dead. Just like that. So the dread is that potent, is that strong. Once the slash proc just hits, as you saw with that enemy, his health just went boop, and then dead. So all it takes is for the slash proc to hit. Now, if you could manage the fire rate of it, you could go like this, and you could put in Fang Fusillade to give yourself that extra slash in it too, because again, it already has a status of 66.8. So now that Fang Fusillade is in there, that is if you are comfortable dealing with the charge rate. You could just use Fang Fusillade with the dread. It is really nice to use it. So you just get him up like that, and then hit him with that. See that slash proc is already doing its work already. Hit him with it again, and boom, he's down for the count. Only 2 arrow shots. That is if you could deal with the charge rate, because you can see you pull it all the way back, and then you can just release that bad boy. Alright, so you could just do that. That's really up to you. Okay, now I'm going to move on to a shotgun category. This is optional, but at the same time, it depends which one you want to roll with. You could roll with the Santi Tigris, or you could roll with the Tigris Prime. It's totally up to you. If you want to get your health back, I say go with the Santi Tigris. If you have a secondary that could compensate for it to give you back health, like let's say Vacor Murloc, you could go with the Tigris Prime, because this beast right here, as far as with shotguns, I'm just gonna put it out there, unless you have 100% status, or like at least 99 point something, which is I think the Quam has, it's like, man, you might as well just be creative in your build as far as with a shotgun, because with a shotgun, status works different with it because of its multi-shot. It has more multi-shot in it, pretty much on the pellets. So you're gonna have to have your shotgun at 100% status in order to deal the maximum amount of damage. So as you'll see, I already procced it on him right there. One shot, he's already dead. All of that status procced into him, and on top of that, you have slash, you have corrosive, just ate him up. Okay, so I have it for corrosive and blast. That slash is at 15,000. Status is at 100%. Like I said, I have sweep incineration in there, so I pretty much just topped it off as is right there. All right. So it's like nothing else more for me to say as far as with the weapon. So we already talked about the Tigris, we talked about the Rakta, we talked about the Dread, we talked about the Tsar. I can't leave this weapon out because it's been a staple for so many years. People still use it for long runs. It's always been consistent to this day. Soma Prime is Soma Prime. I have crit delay in there so I could boost that critical chance to 113.6 with a crit multiplier of 6.6. This slot you could pretty much mess with if you want. You could mess with it however you so choose. You could have hammer shot in there so you could have more crit multiplier, but the critical chance will be 99.2 as you can see. Yeah, right there, 99.2. Alright. Or what you can do, put Argon Scope in there, so you could just have it at 6.6. Still fine. It's still fine. The Soma Prime is still top tier in this game. There's a lot of weapons but few can do what the Soma does. I'm talking about crit constantly over and over and over again, to the point where the enemies will have to be so beefed up that they could try to resist the crit. But with the Soma Prime, it crits so consistently, which is why I've always liked the weapon. Some people say there are other weapons that are better, fine, but as far as keep dealing this crit, reds going all over the place, and as you can see with all those red crits, it's not even gonna last. Look at that. It took 99 shots, because this thing had 200 in its clip and it stopped at 1-on-1. So yeah, 99 shots, and he was already dead. And I had Argon Scope in there to pretty much give me as far as with those headshots kicking in. So those are my 5 that I like to use. Y'all see me use it with Saren, as far as me using the Rakta Cernos, going in with her with the Rakta Cernos, or at times you see me use the Tsar on occasion, only because I like to switch modes between the barrage and the cannon mode. But those are my 5. I like to see what your guys' 5 is. It's really interesting. There was a lot of people giving me their 5 as far as with their secondary. I would like to see what is your 5 as far as with primaries. So leave that in the comment section below. If you want more of these videos, subscribe for more, and like if you like this video. If you don't like it, you can dislike it. Tell me, tell me what you think as far as with your top 5 primary weapons for endgame. So this is King Kacchi, man. I'm gonna check you later. Peace.